This demo is to show how to include the validation test steps in ACRA. First, let's log in into the ACRA Cloud account. Once after logging in, navigate to the Automation Assets page. In the Automation Asset Management, I have already created the required test sets and test case. I have recorded the required test steps under this test case as well. So these test steps are all about logging inside JDE, fast pathing to P4210 application, clicking on Find, and then closing the application and signing out. Now we are going to add few validation test steps to validate the data that is present inside the P4210 application. First, we'll see what are all the different verification action libraries that is present in ACRA. Verification action libraries are used to verify the data that is present on the target web page. These verification test steps can be added manually to the test case. To add a test step manually, we need to click on Add Test Step icon, which is shown on the right side of the panel. Now let's see the different verification action libraries that are available in ACRA. JDE form verify checkbox is used to verify whether the checkbox that is present in the form is checked or not. JDE form verify list select is used to verify the text that is present inside the dropdown. JDE form verify radio button is used to verify the radio button that is present inside the form level. JDE form verify text field is used to verify the text that is present in the text field. JDE grid cell verify is used to verify the text that is present inside the grid cell. JDE grid cell verify checkmark is used to verify the checkmark that is present inside the grid cell. JDE grid cell verify disabled is used to verify whether the mentioned grid cell is disabled or not. JDE grid row verify is used to verify whether the mentioned grid row is selected or not. JDE verify form error is used to verify the mentioned error is present in the form or not. JDE verify grid cell text CSS is used to verify the text that is present inside the grid cell holds the mentioned CSS style. JDE verify grid row count is used to verify the number of rows that is present inside the grid. JDE form error not expected verifies the form is free from errors. These are the different verification action libraries that are present in the ACRA. Now let's add few verification test steps to verify the data that is present inside the P4210 application. So this is a JDE web page. Here I'm logging inside and fast pathing to P4210 application and clicking on Find. So here we are going to verify some data. First, let's add a verification test step for verifying this checkbox. So going back to ACRA, clicking on Add Test Step icon and entering the test step name, verify checkbox. Now we need to choose the right action library to verify the checkbox. That is JDE form verify checkbox. After selecting the right action library, clicking on Save button and moving this test step after third test step. That is once after logging in and fast pathing to P4210 application, after clicking on Find, it has to do this verification. So I have moved this test step to the 4th position. Now clicking on this test step, verify checkbox, clicking on show metadata button. Here we have 3 parameters, ID, title and value. Now we need to find the ID and title of the checkbox. So let's navigate to the JDE web page. Let's inspect the element. I have inspected the checkbox and I found the ID of the checkbox. So copying the ID and pasting it in the ID text field. And next we need to find the title. Title is the text that is present next to the checkbox. So copying the title and pasting it in the title text field. I want this test step to verify that this checkbox is not checked. So I'm giving the value as false. Now we have successfully added a test step for verifying checkbox. Next, we'll add a test step to verify the text that is present inside the grid cell under this order number column. So let's add one more test step. Clicking on add test step icon, entering the test step name, verify grid cell order number. Now we need to choose a right action library for verifying the grid cell. JDE grid cell verify. After choosing the action library, I'm clicking on save button. And now I'm moving the test step from 7th position to 5th position. Clicking on the test step. Clicking on show metadata button. Here we have 4 parameters, that is grid ID, row ID, column name and cell value. Now we need to find the grid ID and row ID. Let's go back to the JDE web page. Let's inspect the grid cell. So the ID of the grid is this one, that is JDE grid 0_1. Let's copy the grid ID and paste it under the grid ID text field. Next, we need to find the row ID. Again, I'm inspecting on that element. So this would be my row ID. Copied and pasted under the row ID text field. And the column name would be order number. Cell value is 2401. Now we have added a verification test step to verify the text that is present inside the grid cell. So this is how we should add validation test steps inside the test case. Now we'll see how it works by running this test case. To run this test case, we need to create a new automation execution. So clicking on add automation execution button, entering the execution name, choosing the product name and the product version, selecting the product URL and selecting the automation set and clicking on create button. Now moving on to the automation execution page. Here you can see the execution that we have created now. I have already turned on the ACRA engine, which is present in my local machine. So clicking on run test icon and entering the iteration name, choosing the browser and selecting the automation set and clicking on run button. The engine has triggered the execution. So now it will log in to JDE and FastPath to P4210 application, and it will click on find, and then it will verify the checkbox and it will verify the first grid cell under the order number column. And then it has closed the application and it will log out of JDE. So once the execution is over, it will show the appropriate results in the engine GUI. Let's navigate to the execution area of the corresponding execution, expanding the iteration and the test sets, expanding the test case as well. So here if you see, it has verified the checkbox and it has verified the text inside the grid cell successfully. This is how we need to add the validation test steps and use it in our test case. Thank you.